Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions in the worlds of social media, sports, and pop culture. My guest this afternoon is a professional wrestler and a fitness guru. We're with Robbie E. Robbie, welcome to Popternative.
Hey, what's going on? I got two babies sleeping in my back seat, so I'm hoping that they stay sleeping. But if you hear some crazy noises throughout this interview, it's them and not me. You know the deal.
Oh, absolutely. So, you just got back from vacation, but before that, it was just kind of nonstop, right? What have you been up to specifically?
I'm still wrestling full-time. I've parted ways with Impact Wrestling, but I still wrestle full-time all around the world. I'm booked out through 2018 in the U.S. and every other friggin' country that pretty much exists. And then I'm obviously doing a weekly thing for Muscle and Fitness, a weekly thing for Men's Fitness, and a weekly thing for Fight TV, which you're familiar with. So I got a lot of stuff going on, man. And I got baby twins, so my life's crazy.
Absolutely. What made you, because, people who've watched you on Impact Wrestling over the years, your character has always been, it started, like the party character, the Jersey Shore parody, but the fitness guru or like expert or like fitness was a really big part of your gimmick, you know what I mean? Always being in shape, going to the gym. Did you always want that to be part of your so-called gimmick, or because it's a big part of your life, right?
It's a part of my life. It's pretty obvious when you look at me that, I'm a pretty fit guy and I work out. I've been working out regularly since I was in my teens, since I was in high school. And I take it seriously, and that's why now I'm branching out into all the other fitness stuff. But, when you look the way you look, people obviously know I work out, so I got to be a workout guy, when I wrestle, because it's right there,
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about the, you brought it up a little bit, but you're doing some stuff now, some fitness stuff, the Dad Bod stuff. Talk a little bit about that, because that's really cool stuff.
Muscle and Fitness, obviously, you've heard of it. Everyone has. It's pretty much, when you think of fitness, even if you're not familiar with it, everyone knows what Muscle and Fitness is. And they originally did an interview on me when I did The Amazing Race, and then they did a follow-up interview about my wrestling career. So I stayed in contact with them always, and then when they saw that I had baby twins, they kind of were just like, how are you still staying fit and, living a fit life while you have baby twins? Because it's just madness with them. And that's why together we kind of collaborated and came up with this Dad Bod Destroyer idea, where I'm basically giving dads ideas to be able to work out while they're still entertaining their kids. So whether they're using their kids as weights and curling them, or whether they're just doing push-ups and making funny faces at their kids, they can still get a workout in while their kids are being watched. So it's like there's no excuses. Because so many people, once they have kids and become a dad, it's like they start to lose hair, they start to get a gut, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
You can still live your life. You want to be a role model for your kids,
How are you able to balance the professional wrestling life and the muscle and fitness stuff? How are you able to kind of make sure that you get both of them, a kind of like a healthy dose of both of them in your life? Because you like both of them, and it's a big part of your life.
Well, it's just 24/7. I'm nonstop. Thankful that my thing is my wife. She's in the fitness industry also, but she travels a lot. Like right now, she's in Colorado. I'm home alone with the kids. She's gonna come home, and then I leave for wrestling. So a lot of our schedules are where we switch and flip flop. So it's just really nonstop. We got family that are close that help us out, and every day is a battle, but it's a winning battle and it's a rewarding battle.
No, absolutely. What do you think is what's your most favorite thing about being a professional wrestler? A lot of people say kind of the traveling, they get to see they get to perform in front of people all over the world, but is there anything specific that Robbie E loves about being a professional wrestler?
Honestly, I think the coolest thing, not to be cliche like everyone says, but I'm traveling. I've been so many weird, of course I would have vacationed throughout my life and gone places, but I've been so many weird places that I never would have been if it wasn't for wrestling. places in South Africa, weird islands in Hawaii, Israel, like just so many random places that I've wrestled in where it's like so cool that I got to see certain things that I never would have done in my lifetime. And, obviously being on television opens you up to other opportunities like Muscle and Fitness, like The Amazing Race. So by being a star on TV, it's gotten to help me out and branch into other things.
What I find interesting is, so you were with, in my opinion, one of the Bromans is like one of my favorite tag teams. You guys were awesome. It was a good tag team. It was a fun gimmick. Jesse was also on Big Brother, so you kind of have that whole like reality show star thing going. Did you ever think about putting, was that kind of like a indirect part of the gimmick that you guys were both kind of involved with the pop culture stuff as well, and it wasn't just about like the health and fitness?
Well, we were together actually before I was on Amazing Race.
Oh.
But after I was on, you would have thought that it would have been something that was, talked about a lot more, because we were the first ever reality show tag team. It's never been done. There's been reality stars in wrestling, yeah, but never two that were together. And we were on the same network, CBS. We were both on these shows that have been on so long, Big Brother and The Amazing Race. So the fact that we were teaming was something that definitely should have been talked about more, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to have that. Not to mention, we also at one point had our own DJ Z, which again was a first in pro wrestling. No one ever had their own DJ, which was cool. So the Bromans all together were just like we were hip and fresh.
It was an innovator. It was an innovator.
And it's one of my most fun parts of my wrestling career.
And one of the most underrated feuds in wrestling, in my opinion, was when you split up and then you and Jesse had a feud. And then later after the feud, you guys got back together. But that was a great feud, man. Like I was actually at the live taping in Florida, in Orlando, when you guys fought, and it was a street fight, and you brought up the chains and everything. That was a good match, man.
No, we did, and it was. I think that was the time when Impact was kind of some of our audience. We were switching TV channels then, and some of our audience was going elsewhere, so it kind of got overlooked. But my match with Jesse at Slammiversary, our pay-per-view match, is one of my favorite matches in my wrestling career. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. We both got to show different sides of ourselves.
What do you think about? Because we've done a lot of interviews lately with a lot of different wrestlers. Rob Van Dam came on the show a couple of weeks ago. We've had Beer City Bruiser for Ring of Honor. I'm asking a lot of these professional wrestlers this question. What do you think of the whole? There is a little bit of a shift going on in the professional wrestling where you're kind of seeing these bigger performers, kind of like, for example, an Impact, like Abyss, or guys like, even Moose, or even in WWE, Braun Strowman, that, well, maybe not Braun Strowman because he's just a traditional, typical big guy wrestler, but there's a lot of big guys that are doing a lot more kind of like acrobatic things or things that you wouldn't necessarily see from big guys. What do you think from your perspective of how wrestling has transformed, where you have guys like Moose or Donovan Dijak, who's in Ring of Honor, who are really big guys that are doing moonsaults off the top rope, that are doing all these like cool things that guys like you and Jesse used to do, but they're really big guys. What do you think about that?
I think it's, about to be 2018, and times aren't just changing in wrestling, they're changing in everything, and everything takes twists and turns, and you can only be the traditional big man for so long. Things have to change to keep fans on their toes and give them something different. So if it's a flavor right now for big guys to do cool stuff off the top rope, so be it. And in a few years, something else will come up and it'll switch, and they'll go back to being traditional big men, or they'll get bored of that. You know what I mean? Wrestling's always changing, so it is what it is. And granted, wrestling, it's just opinionated, so I might say I don't like that, which I don't. I prefer big men being big men and not going to the top rope, but some people might say that they love it. Yeah. And there's, anybody can have their choice, because that's the cool thing about wrestling. You're allowed to like what you want to like and dislike what you want to dislike.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned it a bit at the beginning of the show. Your gimmick in Impact Wrestling was kind of like a Jersey Shore parody. Is that something, and the thing is, people that watch you closely over time in Impact Wrestling, you kept the name Robbie E, but the character evolved and wasn't like, when it started, it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? Like the Robbie E when you were kind of at the end of Impact Wrestling was completely different than the Robbie E when you started. Is that something that you wanted to do with your character, kind of the natural progression and kind of the evolution, or were you kind of just like, let's see where this takes me?
Yeah, well, you got to constantly change because things get stale so quickly now. Again, in 2018, people's attention spans, they need something different regularly. So Jersey Shore guy, then I moved a little away from that when I had a bodyguard, then I moved a little away from that with the bromans and the fitness and reality stuff, and then I fully changed when I became a good guy, and, you know, I got to show more of my wrestling side and be a fan favorite. So, yeah, I mean, you constantly got to change up what you're doing in wrestling to stay fresh. And I think that's why I got to have a pretty successful 7-year career in Impact Wrestling, because I constantly updated what I was doing, you know?
Are there any misconceptions about the wrestling industry that you think need to be kind of addressed? Like, you know, a lot of people think that wrestlers just travel all the time. There's like no time for, you know, family, but you're clearly like an example that that's not true. You know what I mean? With all the things you're doing with Dad Bod Destroyer and the family time. Is there anything about being a professional wrestler that people think they know about that is kind of false in your eyes? That it is just kind of like your life is just only wrestling? I mean, it's a huge part of your life, but what do you think about that? Because a lot of people say, oh, wrestlers, you know, they don't have any time. They're just 24
well, to
hours.
be fair, it really depends who you are, because some don't. So granted, like I said, again, I'm not full-time with Impact Wrestling anymore, so my schedule has reduced. I can pick and choose where I want to go and when I want to go, so I do that based around my family. But guys that are still on the road full-time, I mean, sometimes, especially if you're a top guy, you know, a champion or a main event guy, even on your off days, you're doing appearances and you're flying somewhere, you're doing something. So some guys aren't ever home and don't have time for their families. Luckily, the position I am in now, I do get that. But there was a time when I was, you know, I'd be lucky to be home 1-2 days a week. And that was a good week if I was, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
But as far as another misconception about wrestlers, I would just say a lot of people probably think just everything about it's a lot easier than it is. One of the hard things, like you just said, being travel, having to travel so much, being away from your family is one of the hardest things, in addition to eating clean on the road, getting workouts in, keeping your body healthy, and just maintaining your sanity. You know, it's not easy. It's not for everyone, that rock star life.
Are you looking forward to kind of what kind of the future holds for you, not only in terms of like all the success that the muscle and fitness stuff has been, because it's been successful and congratulations on that. But are you also looking forward to kind of seeing where the pro wrestling world is taking you, like in 2018? Do you have any bookings already in the works? Like how has that been in terms of preparing for kind of the next chapter in Robbie E?
Life is all about confidence, and I'm a super confident guy, so I know that no matter what I do, I'm going to be successful at it. I'm still going to stay relevant in the world, and Robbie E is never going to go anywhere, and I know that. But as far as wrestling, yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm booked out through 2018. I got international stuff coming up, in the country stuff coming up, so I'm super busy. As far as wrestling, again, full-time, do I want to do it? 1,000% I do. Do I know that'll happen? I don't. So time will tell, and we'll see. But I'm 34. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm on top of my game, and I just got some sick new white boots. So
awesome. Well, this is the time where Robbie E plugs everything he needs to plug. So where can we kind of follow you on social media? Where can we check out the muscle and fitness stuff? Where can we find out maybe about some of the upcoming dates? Plug away, Robbie.
Okay, so let's start with Mondays. Monday mornings, you can check me out on all of Muscle and Fitness's social media for Dad Bod Destroyer videos. Tuesdays, you can check me out on Fight TV for The Real Robbie E, where Tuesday mornings where you get to follow me around in my life. Whatever I do, but per week, I'm bringing you with me. Thursdays, you can check me out on Men's Fitness for Back to the Basics, where I give you some original workouts, some old school workouts. And then, of course, at Robbie E Impact on Instagram and Twitter. And then my official website is robbie-e.com for schedule and pictures and all that good stuff.
Perfect. Well, Robbie, thank you so much for joining us, and all the best in 2018, man.
Hey, peace. Thanks, guys.
No problem. Well, this has been Pop Turnative. Be sure to Subscribe to us on YouTube. Be sure to, all the information for Robbie E will be in the description, so be sure to check out everything he's doing with Muscle and Fitness and with his professional wrestling as well. Until next time, this is Robbie E and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.